Hey, your tens. Today, what we're going to do is I'm going to look at multiplication of algebraic terms. So, if I gave you to start, if I gave you 2 times 8a, when you're multiplying and dividing algebraic terms, you no longer need to worry about whether they are like terms. You can just do straight multiplication. One piece of advice to you is to forget about not to forget about, but to deal with the numerals first and then deal with pronumerals. So if I were to do this one, what I would do is I would line it up so it would be 2 times 8. And remember, when you have when you have a numeral and a pronumeral together like that, this actually means 8 times a. And you'll remember that when you do multiplication, order doesn't matter. So if I were to say 3 times 5, or I were to say 5 times 3, the order you do this in, both of those will get you an answer of 15. So the order of multiplication doesn't change our answer. So I'm just going to rearrange this a little bit. So it says 2 times 8 times a. So you can all do 2 times 8. I'm just going to get my eraser out and just erase some of this writing over here. There we go. Perfect. Okay. So we can all do 2 times 8, which is 16, times a. And you actually just write that as 16a. And we don't write the multiplication sign. So that would be how you would simplify that first example. Let's do another. So this one we'll do 6x times 3y. And this is a good example of why I try to draw my x's a little bit differently. Another way to kind of look at that would be like a 6. You could draw it like this also. 6x times 3y. And that's also not bad. But like before, what we're going to deal with is we're going to deal with the numerals and pronumerals separately. So we'll go 6 times 3 times x times y. You then would do what's 6 times 3, that's 18, times x times y, and you can finish that out by just cleaning it up a little bit and write it as 18xy. And that would be this fully simplified. Another example of this, if I were to give you 2a times 7d, again, 2 times 7 times a times d would be how we would do this. 2 times 7 is 14, and you could then go times a times d, but you can really skip that step and just write it as 14ad. Yeah, that's a little bit messy. No, that's even worse. The last example I want to give you is kind of another good example. Negative 3 m times 8mn. Okay, I'm not going to have a lot of room, so I'm just going to work below just for this time. So that's negative 3 times 8 times m times m times n. Okay, so let's deal with negative 3 times 8. A negative times a positive makes a negative. And 3 times 8 gives me 24. So negative 3 times 8 gives me negative 24. Next, when you do this math and you have 2 of the same numbers multiplied by each other, remember, and I'm just going to kind of talk about this really quick. We talked a little bit ago that if I were to say 8 times 8 is the same as 8 squared, in algebra, when you have m times m, we can write that as m squared. So that becomes m squared. And then times n, you can just write the n next to it. So that would be how you would simplify that one. I'll do one more example just so you can kind of see another one just like that. I'll do negative 5 x, y times negative 4y, z. All right, so to start, a negative times a negative makes a positive. 5 times 4 makes 20. So that'll be 20 times x times y times z. I cross my z's. So that would be the x from here, the y from here, the y from here, and the z from there. That's where I'm getting all those from. So now I can kind of simplify this a little bit further. So that's 20. There's only one x, so I just write my x. Y times y makes y squared, and then z. And that's another example just like my first one. So I hope all those examples help you out. That would be how to multiply algebraic terms. I hope you're all doing well. Take care.